You're working, even when I don't feel it. You're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop. You never stop. Let's see that. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop. You never stop working. Death has lost its grip on Jesus Christ.
Amen. Jesus Christ is our living hope. I love the line of that song that says, even though when I don't see God working, he is working and he never stops. So even though you don't see God working, he is working. He is in that kitchen, like Pastor Mason said on yesterday. When you go to a restaurant, you may not see the cook cooking, but when your food comes out, you know he was working on something. So that's how God is. God is working behind the scenes. He always is, even when we don't see him. Well, welcome everyone to Birmingham Bible Church's Winning Wednesday. We are so glad that you have decided to join us here on today. It is always our desire and our pleasure to bring you information that encourages, that enlightens, and that informs. So please, y'all, please share this broadcast with someone that you know, someone that you love, and someone that you care about. Well, as we were thinking about this topic for the month of November, we always talk about the other organs of the body that the body has. So we always talk about the heart, we talk about the kidneys, we talk about the lungs, but I know I don't ever hear too much information about the liver. And I know the liver is very important. I think the only time I ever know something about the liver is to say when your eyes are kind of yellowish, especially when you have newborn babies, you don't want them to get jaundice. And I think that's kind of been it as far as what I know about the liver. And so, of course, I want to bring a specialist on, someone who knows their stuff, who knows the body, who's been to school for it, who's been educated on it. And of course, that is our guest for today, Dr. Conrad Miller. He is of Miller Family Practice in the Middle Georgia area. So if you're in Macon or Warner Robins, those are our old stomping grounds. Please feel free to contact him for all of your healthcare needs. And so, hello, Dr. Miller. How are you today?
Hey, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, doing wonderful. So like I said, and some of our guests may feel the same way. We don't know too much about the liver. So tell us what the liver does. What's its function?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. Well, first of all, the liver is it's kind of got multiple functions. It is basically a chemical factory. It's also a center for detoxification. So it purifies the blood, which is a task that it shares along with the kidneys. But almost anything you consume, anything you ingest, goes from the intestines and almost immediately to the liver. So the liver helps detoxify poisons, alcohol being one. It's also a storage center. So it's a storage center for glucose, which is sugar, and for more complicated forms of glucose. So it can help regulate blood sugar as one of its functions because it's able to release that stored glucose and those stored more complex sugars like glycogen and help keep your blood sugar up during a period where you can't eat food, which is, of course, our main reason to eat is to provide glucose, fuel to the body. So that more complicated form of glycogen is released during exercise. So like a runner, a runner can't sit and eat, and those simple fuels or those simple sugars get consumed quickly. But as you're doing a long run or you're exercising for a long period, you release these more complicated fuels like glycogen that your body can break down into glucose and keep your body functioning during an extended exercise.
Okay. So if my liver, well, let me actually, so what symptoms would I notice if my liver isn't working properly, or there's some issues going on with my liver?
Okay, so like you mentioned early on, that jaundice, that yellowing of the eyes or skin is one abnormality that can kind of easily and very commonly be recognized. You could also have changes in your skin, especially the skin of your abdomen. My camera's not quite pointing in the right direction, but right overlying the liver and all the way down to the belly button. With some liver conditions, there'll be a backup of the blood flow, and you'll actually see those veins in the skin surrounding the belly button and extending up towards the liver. And that's often seen in conditions where the blood supply to the liver is partially compromised, like in a blood clot to those veins in that system. And that can be seen just by examining the skin.
Okay. All right. And so how can I keep my liver healthy? We know the symptoms, we know what the liver does. How can we keep our livers just in good operating condition?
Okay. Well, one of the first things is the use or overuse of substances that go through the liver. So that could include medications, prescribed by physicians. Mm-hmm. Although, of course, when physicians prescribe things that we know are liver toxic, we do check the liver. So we'll eliminate that category for right now and go with things or events that a person can do without the supervision of a physician to worsen a condition. So those would be use of illicit drugs or use of drugs for some purpose other than the prescribed purpose. So pain medicines, whether overuse of Tylenol, which goes straight through the liver, whether overuse of opioids, which are often mixed with Tylenol, and both of those compounds go straight through the liver. Overuse of alcohol, which again is almost 100% metabolized by the liver. Metabolism just means breaking down of. So all those go straight through the liver. Work with certain chemicals. So a person working in a chemical factory, a person who is a victim of environmental racism and lives on land that's contaminated with certain chemicals. Those chemicals, could seep in through the skin, or through the water supply and cause liver damage. Diabetes can cause liver damage. Super high cholesterol levels can also cause liver damage.
Okay. And, when you talk about medications, and that's why I hear a lot, if I go to the doctor, they'll say, they recommend Tylenol as opposed to, I guess, Advil or Aleve. So yes. I'm thinking it's because Tylenol, I guess, can go through the liver maybe or be processed better than the other ones can. I guess that's what I'm thinking.
That's right. So if you're worried about kidney disease, you want to avoid all those Motrins and Advils and things like that. And so
Yeah.
then you move more toward the Tylenols, but of course they go through the liver. So you kind of have to balance because
Okay.
we need both of these organs to survive. But if a person has one issue, yeah, you can kind of get some pain relief by going to medicines that work through the other pathway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, some of the things that you're talking about with the liver, I was thinking it was just all the kidney that does. So is it safe to say that I guess the kidney and liver work together, or does the liver act as a backup just in case the kidney starts to, you know, malfunction or decline?
Well, they complement each other. I mean,
Okay.
it's an intelligent design.
Okay.
And of course, you know, we tend to think about people consuming more bad things, but once it gets into the bloodstream, it's kind of all handled the same. So something that's been absorbed through the skin, and I gave the example of toxins, you know, once it's in the bloodstream, then it's more likely that the liver is going to break it down. But there's some things that the kidney breaks down.
Mhm.
So they both kind of work on different types of compounds, and it just kind of depends on what insult, what injury has been the person's been exposed to.
Mhm. Now, is it, you know, should we just all go out and get our liver tested? Like, is there, you know, because we don't want, you know, we don't want to start getting jaundice and all that stuff. So
Right,
should we
right.
get tested when we have our annuals?
Well, yes, you should, and more than likely, uh, most people are getting tested. Most of the most common liver tests are included in the Chem 14 or the basic metabolic panel, whichever whatever your local lab calls it. So most of those labs are easily being obtained, and if they're abnormal, your physician's probably going to ask for additional tests, which are more specific. So if the person is getting their physical,
Mhm.
well, one, you can always ask. So you know your physician is there to work for you. So you should probably go in there with a little notepad and just write down: Are you checking my liver functions? Are you checking my kidney function? And I'm sure the answer is going to be yes. But if that person wasn't planning on doing those tests that day, you've broached the subject, so now it's going to be tested.
Mhm. Okay, that's good. Yes. And so I think a while back, I want to say last year, there was something going around hepatitis C that was possibly affecting children. And so that's another question I have. I know there's hepatitis A and B, then there's C. I guess what is the difference? And is one more catchable like the cold? Or, you know, saying can one be caught, you know, just easily transmittable?
Okay. Well, hepatitis A is definitely has environmental factors. So that's the one I kind of jokingly say that, you know, you can get it from people from consuming food from someone who hadn't washed their hands properly. I mean, because
Well,
it could be involved with poor hygiene habits and things like that. And it's usually a very short limited. It's not usually an extended illness. It's usually a very short illness.
right.
But yeah, it can be more from environmental, whereas a hepatitis B, you know, is usually bloodborne. So you kind of think about it along with sharing needles,
Mm,
along with IV drug use, along with blood transfusions before, you know, the 1980s
mm,
and things like that. Hepatitis C also is bloodborne, of course. You know, it's an infection that hasn't been recognized for as long of a period of time. So it's definitely screened for now. It wouldn't have been screened for, nor were we aware of it in the days um, prior to HIV. So we just weren't really aware of it. It was around. I mean, when I was in medical school, they didn't even call it hepatitis C. I mean, it was called non-A, non-B hepatitis. And of course, there are some other hepatitis beyond C, and they're still kind of debating on names for it. And they have, I guess, a less defined disease profile. But hepatitis C is one of the conditions that Medicare wants everyone between the ages of born between the years of 1945 and 1965. So the baby boomers, they want all baby boomers tested for hepatitis C. Again, it does have possibility of transmission through IV drug use. So people who are known to have been drug users, whether they're younger than the baby boomers or in the baby boomer generation, should still be screened for hepatitis C. But any person that admits to IV drug use, they're going to get screened for all those automatically.
Okay. So it's only if if you were, possibly sharing needles, or if there was something like that, would you get tested for the hepatitis C and B?
Right.
Okay.
Or if the person had abnormal liver labs and perhaps they weren't a drinker, or they didn't work with certain chemicals, then yes, you would automatically go and test for all the infectious hepatitis conditions.
Okay. So how can this be treated? If you have any type of liver, malfunction, or if you have one of these hepatitises, how do they normally treat it?
Okay. Well, hepatitis A usually is self-limited, but there is a combined antibody solution, a gamma globulin, that can be used to treat it. I guess if it was an individual where the symptoms were so severe and they were perhaps pending a liver failure, that you could use the gamma globulin, but usually that's not the case. Usually it resolves nicely with supportive measures like IV fluids, avoiding medicines or any kind of treatments or any kind of foods that would require a lot of work by the liver, and just giving it time. Hepatitis B, there are medications for it, although it can kind of go dormant on its own and not end up being an issue. Hepatitis C, there are definitely treatments for it. Some of them are pills, some of them are injections, and people improve quite nicely with hepatitis C. Often with hepatitis C, people didn't know that they actually had it, and it's often found just by the screenings, especially in that age group that we had discussed. But those people, if it's not treated, that one definitely can lead to hepatic carcinoma. So even a person who's not symptomatic, we want to go ahead and treat them, because it just so often leads to liver cancer, and of course that's a very big deal.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know they did liver transplants when we go to Vanderbilt sometimes, and I said, oh, there's a liver transplant floor. I didn't know they did liver transplants, but okay. So I guess that's to the point. If it's just there's nothing we can do, the medications are not working, and we need to do something ASAP.
Right.
Okay. And you talked about diet. You kind of mentioned that a few minutes ago. Are there any types of foods or liquids that would help promote great liver health?
Okay. Well, probably one of the best things about liver health would be the prevention aspect. So, we had talked about dietary consumption of alcohol, because alcohol definitely is hepatotoxic. But so clearly, drinking in moderation, not drinking, those are the key take-home messages. But then there's also liver damage from overconsumption of certain foods. And we're not really talking about, I guess, don't eat turkey or don't eat this or don't eat that. We're talking more kind of broadly. So, and I mentioned diabetes to you, because there are often people who they're diabetic or they're pre-diabetic, but their blood sugar levels and the fat levels that often change along with diabetes in some people leads to a deposition of fat in the liver, and that fat then causes scarring. And so it becomes a fatty liver change. And then when the scarring occurs, it becomes a cirrhosis of the liver, and it's totally unrelated to alcohol use. So it's called a non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. We call it NASH, N-A-S-H.
Yeah.
And those people, if it's untreated, can end up with cirrhosis of the liver and all the yellow jaundice changes and all the lack of liver function, and even all the way to liver transplant. So in those individuals, it becomes a matter of some diabetic medicines, such as metformin, that can help. weight loss, the dietary changes of less simple fats, less simple sugars, because all those things, they're bad for diabetics, but they're also bad for these people that have trouble processing these fats and these sugars by their liver.
Okay. When you said that, I'm thinking about, I think it was Walter Payton. I think he had, it was a football star that had cirrhosis of the liver that wasn't caused by drinking.
I believe you're right. I
Maybe,
won't
I'm
swear
not
to
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Which player, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, because I think a lot, a lot of times when you think of cirrhosis of the liver, it's like, oh, it was, they were drinking a lot, but
Right.
it could also be elevated levels of fat,
Yes.
in the body. Right. Okay. Um, well, Dr. Miller, this was great. This was some good information. I believe all of our viewers really just kind of got a lot of things from it. And so we appreciate your time. I'm going to make just a few announcements before we dismiss. And then if you can just end with, how people can contact you, just kind of summation of some of the things you talked about, how we can, things to look out for. And of course, anytime there's something going on with your body, of course, we need to pursue the doctor, call the doctor and say, hey, even if it's something small, minute, call them or whatever. But if you can give us some takeaways in just a few seconds.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. You were here with myself and Dr. Miller from the Middle Georgia area as we talked about liver awareness. Please join us on Sunday. We will be virtual. But we are going to be talking about overcoming the temptations of life. There's a sermon series that Pastor Mason is in. Great job he has been doing with that. So, of course, go back and watch the other two messages. We will see you guys virtually this Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Next month is November, and it is a November to remember. It is our church's 8th anniversary. And our theme always is, up until this point, the Lord has helped us. And so he truly has for 8 years. To him be all the glory. So we are going to be having either in-person guests or virtual guests. So please make a note that on November the 6th and November the 20th, which is the first and third Sunday, we're going to have Bishop Reed on the first Sunday and then Pastor Mondesi on the third Sunday. So that's November 6th and 20th. Also, November 13th and 27th, we are going to be virtual. November 13th is going to be Dr. Kerwin Lee out of Atlanta, Georgia. November 27th is going to be Pastor Jennifer Carter out of Atlanta. So please make sure you know about that. You make sure you put your alarm on your phone, your reminders to remind you of the November to remember that's going down next month. Also, November the 20th, we're going to be celebrating, Pastor Mason and I, 25 years of marriage. And so it's our 25th anniversary, the big silver. And so up until this point, the Lord has helped us. We're going to continue that theme. But you guys are welcome to witness our vow renewal that's going to be on November the 20th. It's going to be right after worship service on that day. Don't forget, worship service starts at 10. And so we're going to have our vow renewal immediately after that. Also, the month of November, Small Business Saturday. I want to celebrate you guys and want to market you guys. And so listen, if you want to be a part of the pre-recording, so the pre-recording is going to be on November the 10th. And then we're going to show the actual video on November 26th. So if you want to be a part of that, please let me know. Send me an email at ladypam@tcowi.org. Also really important is our financial group. We have a couple of groups that we have, and one is for the singles. Let me go back. One is for the singles. So singles, we upload a video for you guys once a month. It's on our YouTube page, BHAM but you can also be a part of the private Facebook page. You have to let us know if you want to be a part of that. But if you're interested, send us an email at singles@bhambc.org. Married couples, if you're interested, we do the same thing. We upload a monthly video, and it's just to help encourage and strengthen our marriage, especially during these times. Send us an email at marriedcouples@bhambc.org. Timothy class participants, same thing. Send us an email at timothyclass@bhambc.org. Again, timothyclass@bhambc.org. For those who want to learn more about their finances, maybe get a better handle on their finances, we are going to be offering a 10-week course from Crown Financial Ministries. If you want to be a part of that, please let us know. We're going to start those classes on November the 5th, but you have to go to Crown Financial Ministries website to order the book. And you have to do the first lesson before November the 5th. So listen, if you're interested, if you need more information, we've sent out emails to those who we know were interested in it. We also did a post on social media. If you're interested, send us an email if you need more information at finance@bhambc.org, which is on the screen, finance@bhambc.org. Last but not least, listen, we want to keep you guys just posted on everything that's going on with BBC. Keep you engaged. Make sure you're remembering things that are going on as they're going on. So if you want to be a part of our text messaging system, please text BBC WW to 94253. Text BBC WW to 94253. And guys, have a great and wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Well, thank you, Dr. Miller, for joining us here on today and giving us some great information about the liver, things that we did not know about. And so if you could just kind of end and just let us know how we can contact you, and also just some takeaways or some really important nuggets that we need to leave with on today.
Okay. Well, thanks again for having me. I always enjoy it.
Yeah.
Definitely, when you're going to your doctor, write down some questions. So if you're concerned about your liver and maybe you haven't seen what your labs reveal, maybe your physician's office doesn't have a portal so that you can review them on your own, or maybe you just haven't been as active in your health as you might want to be. But just get a little pad, write down a few questions, even perhaps during the waiting period or in the triage room. And what's my liver doing? What's my blood sugar? What's my A1C? Is it time for my colonoscopy? Just ask a few questions. Try to get a rapport with your healthcare provider. And if you're not able to establish that rapport, find someone else. You are the consumer. This is your body, and the way you do that is to take ownership. So I think if you're going to have that conversation with your physician, he or she is going to be responsive. And if that person can't be responsive for whatever reason, you get to use your feet. You get to go and seek out a better opportunity somewhere else. But to sum up about this episode, watch what you eat, watch your diet. Think about what is going into your body. So definitely all these processed foods can cause us harm in a lot of different ways: heart health, kidney health, liver health. Excuse me, not enough water. So drink more water. That's one thing. And if you know that you're doing things, or you know that you're exposed to chemicals that could be liver toxic, if you do have to take a lot of pain medicines, for a legitimate reason, if you are on a lot of medications that perhaps have a pathway that goes through the liver, like a cholesterol pill, like certain antibiotics, definitely all the antifungals can go through the liver. So if you're going through some type of situation where you have to take a lot of prescription medicines, you might need to back off on other things that are bad for the liver. So definitely when I prescribe certain medications, I'll tell a person to stop taking their vitamin D supplement for a short time, because that could be negative for the liver in high amounts. Or
Oh,
if you're on those certain antibiotics, maybe we need to hold off on the cholesterol pill for a week or so until the antibiotics are done.
oh,
If you know you're on these multiple medicines, then again, ask your doctor, do I need to slack off on any of this just for a short time?
right.
And these are things that we sometimes have to do in order to see that the liver enzymes don't go up and see that they return to normal if they were elevated for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But again, ask your physician, pay attention, you look for changes in your skin, especially in your eyes or changes to your skin color, and go from there.
And doctor, I just thought about one last question. And I know you probably cannot endorse anything, but liver cleanse. I mean, should we do something like a liver cleanse, or is that not?
Well,
Is that a
I've never read what's in the product that you're referring to.
okay?
But if we were doing a cleanse, let's say for example, we were doing a Daniel fast. Okay, so we're
Right.
eating naturally. We're eating whole foods.
Right.
We're not eating
Right.
processed foods. We're drinking pretty much 100% water. With those few juices that are allowed. I would say something like that is probably beneficial to the liver.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't, yeah, without looking and seeing what's in the
Seeing
product,
what's in
I
it.
wouldn't endorse any. I mean, there
Yeah.
probably are some things that help. So I'm sure there's some vitamins and minerals that you can take in moderation. But
Okay.
again, whenever someone's marketing and selling a product, they're doing so for a reason, and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't realize that because I know one time one of our children had eczema, and I went to a herb store and she was saying that a lot of times it's the liver, something's going on with the liver. And so of course I saw on the shelf there's like liver supplements, there's all kind of stuff, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But you're right, you have to research it and make sure it's not interfering with things that you're doing. And okay, I just had that question. I said, oh, I remember liver cleanse when I went there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Conrad. Really appreciate you spending your time with us. I know it's hard to get a physician away, but thank you for doing this. And so blessings upon you and your business. And guys, thank you for joining us out there on social media. Listen, make sure you share this with someone that you know, someone you love. Make sure you are going to the doctor. Make sure you're asking those important questions. And to each and every one of you, blessings and best health to everyone who is watching. We will see you next time. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Miller.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.